Mic check, mic check. Let me know I'm coming in by show of ones, ladies and gentlemen. Good to go. Gonna nip this in the bud right now, so we're good. All right. Peace and blessings to everybody. I see y'all rolling in the chat. We are gonna have a phenomenal broadcast. I see y'all joining. What's going on? Shiny Wayne is in the building. Q Brown's in the house. Yes, yes, yes. Miss Prosperity is in the building. Queen Asia's in the house. Thank y'all for participating, making sure that we are functioning properly. We're going to get everything situated. We're going to get our ducks in a row. We are going to really break down what's going on right now. Right? What's going on? I see King Connect in the building. What's going on with you, my brother? Hope everybody is of sound mind, especially with all the chaos going on outside, all across the states. Hopefully everybody is high spirits. On one moment, let's. Right. So far, we good. I believe we're good. Yep, I see the DMV is in the building. All right. We are about to really go in, y'all. We're about to really go in. Just making sure we don't have any errors while we're streaming. I don't want any echoes. I don't want any of that happening during this broadcast. I want everything to be smooth. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna skip the intro for this evening. We're gonna just get into it. Let's talk about what's going on in Minneapolis. Also across 50 states. It's worldwide protest, not worldwide, pardon me, nationwide protests going on. And this is after the untimely murder of Renee Nicole, a woman who was, shot down by ICE agents because she was fleeing for her life. And we got to discuss what's going on with that, because anarchy in the streets right now. There's going. Listen, let me start off by saying this. What it takes to have a civil war is you need political division. You need high profile legal cases and situations. And you need protests, nationwide protests. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got those things. The only thing missing is an armed faction, a mass armed faction. And at the rate things are going, it's very possible that can happen. Right now in Minneapolis, they are getting the National Guards to come out there to fight on behalf of the state. So you have the state who are going to have their guns drawn towards ICE, which is the federal. Now picture this. You got to divide between state and federal right now. So there is your armed militia right there when you have local law enforcement as well as the National Guards coming out to go against federal agents, which is ICE. And what do they say, ladies and gentlemen, in the Bible? What does it say? A land divided cannot stand. A land divided can't stand. And this is happening in real time. And I really want to evaluate some of the things that's going on. People are torn between what they believe was morally right in the situation, regardless of what you think. The gears of war are already grinding. The gears of war are already grinding. So regardless whether or not you think the ICE agent was right or wrong, things are already in motion. I personally believe that the ICE agent was not justified to do what he did. It was excessive and it was unnecessary. But nonetheless, let's see what others are saying. Let's see. I got a lawyer's opinion on the Minnesota ICE shooting, and we'll look at what she has to say.
Here are my thoughts on the Minnesota ICE shooting as a lawyer that has sued for similar claims before. I'm going to start with the facts and then I'll give you my legal opinion. Here we have seen from the video several clips that there was apparently a blockage in the street. This woman, Renee Good, was approached by ICE officers who surrounded her vehicle and told her to step out of the car. Instead of getting out of the car, we see her turn directions away from the officers. You see the tires rotate to the right and she slowly starts to pull away, which is when one of the officers that had positioned himself in front of his car shoots her once through the window and twice through the side window as her car lost control and drove into a pole. She later died from her injuries. Real police officers are supposed to follow what's called the use of force continuum. That means they are supposed to only match the energy or the force of whatever the suspect is doing. It starts from low use of force, like verbal commands, and it escalates all the way to level 5 use of force, which is the highest use of force, which is deadly force. Here in the span of seconds, we see this officer escalate from level 1 use of force, get out of the car commands, to deadly use of force, shooting her in the face. There is clear legal precedence that officers can only use deadly use of force against someone that is unarmed if there is a clear imminent risk to themselves or others. I know they're trying to say she was armed with the car, but this was not a high-speed chase. She was not aiming for the officers. We can see the tires turn to the right and she was trying to pull away. You can't just shoot someone for not following a verbal command as an officer. There were several steps of the use of force continuum that were skipped, and the one under deadly force was use of other techniques. They could have pepper sprayed her, tased her, or used rubber bullets before escalating to shooting her in the face. Also, this officer had the opportunity to get out of the way, and we can see that from the video. That is the better alternative to get out of the way of the car versus shooting a woman, according to case law. Probably the most upsetting part of this is the administration should be making comments like they are investigating, and they've immediately started calling Renee a domestic terrorist when that's not what happened, and we can all see that from the video. There's going to be more video footage that comes out, hopefully to give context to what happened before. For everyone who was screaming from the rooftops, outraged, saying you should not be killed for your beliefs after the death of Charlie Kirk, I'm not hearing that same energy now. This should outrage you too. I know it's still too early to tell, and more information will come out in the following days, but this looks like it was an unconstitutional use of deadly force, in my opinion. Here are my
I totally agree with what she just said. And regardless of what took place, any loss of life is unfortunate. And, our people, I'm talking about usins right now, we've been enduring this type of extreme prejudice for a long time. And now it is spilled over into middle America. And this is another reason why I truly believe that we're on the early stages of a civil war in America. Because when you have the middle class clashing with the federal government, and there's anarchy in the streets in middle America, there's going to be some issues. See, like they said on Boys in the Hood, either they don't care, don't know, or don't show what goes on in the hood. Straight like that. But when you have middle America looking like the civil rights era, then the world is watching. right now Trump is coming up on his midterm elections. And I don't know, man, maybe Article 422 may be pulled, maybe an impeachment. I mean, we can have hopeful thinking, but we're in those early stages. We're in those early stages. Now, there's a lot going on, and I have a lot of footage of what's going on nationwide. So I want you all to like this particular video. Make sure you're supporting the broadcast. See y'all in the chat being interactive. Let's keep that chat rate up. Let me know what y'all think about this situation, because people are in the streets. We were never going to get this type of energy when it came for us. However, this is the type of energy that showed the early stages of real chaos breaking free. And I'm going to tell you like this. I'm going to be 100% with y'all. When it comes to usins, we got to, of course, I know my stance on this. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. And I want to be also clear about this, that this is not about Democrats or Republicans. This is about right and wrong. This is also about the fact that in Middle America right now, people have seen themselves in Renee, Nicole. That's why they're out there. We gotta pretty much stay out of this situation. You know, we did a whole broadcast about, you know, being stable in this time, you know, not making emotional decisions, not choosing one side or another, but just observing. Just observing. Because we're only at the early stages.
At some point, white people will have to realize that you too are in the crosshairs. In fact, historically speaking, maintaining white supremacy in America has always required terrorizing white people into uniform complicity. You have to remember that the very first slave revolts in American history were led by multiracial coalitions of white, black, and Native American people. Folks who understood that all of our fates are woven together. Rest in peace, Renee Nicole Good. Rest in peace, Heather Hyde. Rest in peace, Jonathan Myrick Daniels. Rest in peace, Elijah Parrish Lovejoy. What all of these folks had in common is that they stood, whether intentionally or unintentionally, between the forces of white supremacy and its intended target.
Sorry about that. I'm going to replay that. I do not want the echoes. My bad, y'all. Make sure I'm on point with that. Thank y'all for being patient. Start that over from the top, no echoes. I got to chime in with this particular source because we got to unpack this.
At some point, white people will have to realize that you too are in the crosshairs. In fact, historically speaking, maintaining white supremacy in America has always required terrorizing white people into uniform complicity. You have to remember that the very first slave revolts in American history were led by multiracial coalitions of white, black, and Native American people. Folks who understood that all of our fates are woven together. Rest in peace, Renee Nicole Good. Rest in peace, Heather Hyde. Rest in peace, Jonathan Myrick Daniels. Rest in peace, Elijah Parrish Lovejoy. What all of these folks had in common is that they they stood, whether intentionally or unintentionally, between the forces of white supremacy and its intended target. ICE is in Minneapolis to carry out the Trump administration's terror campaign on the Somali community. They're not aiming at the white folks explicitly, unless they have to, unless they deem it necessary to maintain the 250-year-old social order that has put us in this position time and time and time again. At some point, white people will have to realize that you too are in the crosshairs. In fact, historically speaking, maintaining white supremacy in America has always required terrorizing white people into uniform complicity.
Uniform complicity. See, there's a reason why in America, the veterans do not get treated the way they should get treated. There's a reason why in America the veterans don't get treated the way they should be treated. Why? Because the veterans are the ones who can possibly form those armed militias that we were speaking about. So we wonder why the veterans don't get what they get, because they need uniform complicity no matter what. Even if that means the destroyer, aka Thanos in the war machine, got to take out white people in the middle of America. White people in the suburbs are getting it. Why? Uniform complicity. See, white supremacy only works when everybody is in agreement. There has to be a uniform oppression, like it was, or at least complicity. You know, these white supremacists, they want total control. They want total control. So, you know, we have to really know the climate that we're in right now. Look at this.
ICE! No KKK, no fascist USA! No ICE! No KKK, no fascist USA! No ICE! No KKK, no fascist USA! No ICE! No KKK, no ICE! No KKK, no fascist USA! No ICE! No KKK, no fascist USA! No ICE! No KKK, no fascist USA! No ICE!
Now, this is going on in places like Asheville, North Carolina. All throughout the Bible Belt, all throughout the southern states, you got white Americans marching. Why? Because they see themselves in Renee Nicole Good. They thinking that it could have been them. And the media is trying their damnedest to pretty much demonize Renee. You know, they're claiming that she is a lesbian. I believe that the lady that was with her was her lover, and she has, I think they said 2 children from her former previous marriage. You know, this is what the media do. This is what Fox News is doing, running her whole demo down to try to dehumanize her. Regardless of her background, the nation agrees, and I'm talking about the people, agree that it was unjust that she was gunned down by these ICE agents. So that you're not going to be able to put put a lid on this by just ignoring the people. That's just going to piss the people off even more. And I'm going to tell you, even these white supremacists, even some of the white supremacist factions don't like the fact that this white woman was gunned down by ICE. They don't like it because they still want freedom nonetheless. Even some of the white supremacist factions. They didn't vote for that. They didn't really vote for tyranny. They voted for preferential treatment, but they didn't vote for tyranny. So it's gonna get real hot in the pressure cooker in America, man. It's heating up. This thing is really heating up.
When protesters confronted federal immigration agents in Brighton Park on Saturday, They were met with pepper balls and more repression. CPD responded to attempt to de-escalate the situation, and ICE tear gassed our police officers. Let me be clear. Tear gassing the women and men who serve as Chicago Police Department officers is not how we make our city safer. I'm calling for a full investigation into this incident and into all of the brutality that we have seen over the past week. They are taking police resources that should be in our neighborhoods, serving Chicagoans and diverting them to deal with the chaos that they are causing. We need ICE out of our city so that we can continue to focus on the strategies that have been working to drive violent crime down.
So you got ICE clashing with the police. Take tear gas and police. Now, the reason why I said this can really hit a boiling point, you have the state versus the feds right now. Listen, law enforcement, or I should say public officials in authority, is clashing. And the people are in the middle. That's why I say, listen, this is why I tell the people kind of stay out of it, because guess what? The internal battles that they have on top, it's trickling down into the streets right now. The conflict that they have in our government is trickling down into the streets right now. And the question is, do you really want to participate in that? Do you really want to participate in that? And for the person in the chat that keeps saying race baiter, I don't know why you're saying that, but you're about to get timed out. Because all I do is speak the obvious over here. Truth of the matter is, this is not a us problem, but we're very observant of what's going on. We know, we understand that the same energy is not going to be given for a melanated person who gets gunned down. And I want y'all to think about this. They just gunned down a white woman in front of her house in broad day. What do you think ICE has been doing behind closed doors to black and brown people? They did that in broad day. What do you think they've been doing to black and brown people behind closed doors? That's something I want you to consider before, you try to lure us into this. Now, the brother earlier, he made a good point in his video saying that, with a lot of uprisings, there were white people involved that help us in situations in history. But we have to be observant because we know that there's staged events. We know that there's all kind of organizations and movements, and there are far left extremist groups that exist. And we don't know what's what. So out of the Holy Spirit that operates in us, we're going to move wisely. We're going to choose to follow the Holy Spirit, follow the Most High. All right? And I suggest everybody do that. Yep. Because it is really going down out here in the streets. People are extremely upset about it.
That you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.
Soulless. When someone can look you square in the face and lie like that, lie about a video we've seen. We can see it with our own eyes. We know exactly what happened. He can lie to your face and tell you what you saw didn't happen. In fact, the opposite is true. That's a man with no soul. We've seen Trump do it. Trump has been doing it on the Jan 6 videos, right? We have hundreds of videos. We know exactly what happened on that day. Trump goes out in front of cameras, looks you square in the face and says, no, it does. No, it didn't. That is soulless. That is evil. That is moral bankruptcy. That's a shapeshifter, a sellout, a person who is completely corrupted. Soulless.
You know, the issue is that American public officials been soulless. They've been evil. It's just that you all in Middle America were not able to see it. And the reason you wasn't able to see it is because you were selfish. As long as you had your perks and civil liberties, you didn't care what was going on in the trenches. You didn't care what was going on in our communities. You looked at everything they did as necessary evil. Everything went unchecked when they were breaking the Constitution. And I've been saying this from the beginning. Soon as they put ICE in DC and Chicago and Tennessee, New Orleans, and they were harassing our people, I said, don't get too comfortable, Middle America. I said, don't get too comfortable. When they start harassing your people, when white supremacy gets so strong and it spills over into your communities, you're going to have a problem. And now we're here. Now we're here because y'all ignored it. But now they're taken to the streets. But I'm going to tell you this right now. In order for any change to take place, it's going to take more than just we shall overcome. ICE, we want you off our streets. No, that's not going to work. Like I said before, you're going to have to get your Elmer Fudd shotguns, your beef jerky, your canteen, your Rux bags. You're going to have to get your military boots. And y'all going to have to shake something. That's just what it is. Now, I mean, of course, if something is to change. And if that's not what's going to happen, it's too late. And America is just a few steps into martial law. Now, somebody said, ICE also, right, that's True God's property. I seen that. ICE also eliminated a black man on New Year's Eve in California. That's a fact. On New Year's Eve in California. So this is not ICE's first casualty. There's a whole list of black and brown people that ICE then got out of the way. There's a whole list. But I mean, it looks like this thing is going to continue to escalate. I mean, look at the streets. Goodness.
If you forget, we cannot have that happen again because we have absolutely nothing to lose at this point. But I'm ready to burn out and I'm ready to what the fuck's it gonna be?
And it looks like it's more and more people in the streets every hour on the hour. Look, there's crowds in Cleveland, Ohio as well. Look. New York is going crazy too. There's a lot happening in Portland. They're saying two more people got hit up in Portland, and they happen to work for border control, which is crazy.
Renee! Say her name, Renee! Justice for Renee! Justice for Renee! Say her name, Renee! Say her name, Renee! Say her name, Renee!
They pulling up, y'all. And I know, some people are saying she looked Hispanic. I mean, it looked like a white woman to me. But I don't think ICE really wants to divulge that information.
They don't want nobody to know that she's white. They don't want nobody to know that she's white. Renee Nicole Good, the 37-year-old woman that ICE agent blew her face off in broad daylight after she had just dropped off her 6-year-old child, her 6-year-old boy to school, is white, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that because it's going to...
I mean, respectfully, you could look at her and see that's a white lady. You can look at her and see that. They're just trying to sweep it under the rug, I mean, when I say they, I mean the federal government. The people aren't going to let them sweep it under the rug. And Fox News is just getting more nasty about the situation, which we're going to evaluate Fox News and how they carrying it. And it's diabolical, y'all, but let's go.
Going to fuck with their narrative. A ICE agent took his firearm, aimed it into the car of a white woman, and blew her face off. Blew her face off.
They put her brains across the dashboard in front of her own house. And they thought Middle America wasn't going to be in an uproar? No. See, moments like this is a symbol. Moments like this is how uprisings begin. And it doesn't happen all at once either. See, because people see themselves, people in white America see themselves in Renee, they're not going to look at this as an isolated event. They're going to look at this as a pattern. They're going to look at this as a pattern, y'all. And they're going to feel like they have to get out there and march. They have to fight back because they're going to feel like if they don't, they're next. That's the mentality going on in Middle America. If they don't push back, they believe they're next.
But everywhere that you read, all the media that's reporting it, they keep saying 37-year-old woman, 37-year-old woman. They refuse to say her name. They refuse to show her picture because they don't want you to know that she's white. They don't want you to know that she's white. ICE murdered a white woman, blonde, blue-eyed white woman, shot her in the face 3 times. They don't want you to know that. And they are purposely not letting you know that it's a white woman whose face they blew off because they don't want you to switch sides. They do not want you to switch sides. They don't want you to work collectively with the oppressed after realizing you too are being oppressed.
That's an interesting point of view. The truth is, they do want to work with the oppressed at this point. They definitely want our support. They definitely want our support, but our people are just not going to be willing to render that simply because nobody cares about us when we're going through these situations. And I'm not talking about everyone. Some of you all who are from the other nations, y'all do show up. You're viewing this and you have compassion for the melanated man and woman in this country who have been through the transatlantic slave trade, constant persecution, hatred, police brutality, and all of the above. And you show up. I just want you to understand you're not part of the mass majority. You're not part of the mass majority, so foundational Black Americans are going to stay out of it. We don't know if this is a psyop or not. because we know in America, they want chaos. I truly believe that the so-called powers that be want chaos in the streets. They want to destabilize and implode America. I believe that this is all done by design because they believe in something called order out of chaos. And the order they mean is them establishing more dominance out of chaos. They believe in problem, reaction, and solution. So I recommend everybody stay out the way. But unfortunately, people are not going to really hear what I'm saying because they seen what they seen, and the wheels of civil war are already in motion. You can't stop it. You can't put a lid on something like that.
They don't want you to switch sides. That's why they're not letting you know that it was a white woman. It's a white woman. A white woman. I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over and over and over. It's a white woman, blonde hair, blue eyes. They blew her face off. And the government is currently trying to justify it. The government is currently trying to justify it. They're lying to your face because we all seen the videos. This man is walking around free after taking his firearm and aiming it into the car of a civilian, unarmed civilian, and blew her face off. And it's one of your very own. She had also lost her husband. So now her children are parentless. Where is all the pro-life extreme right? Where are you guys? Where are you? Huh? Now that you know it was a white woman that they murdered, not a criminal, not a migrant, not a black person, a white American woman got her face blown off with the help of your tax-paying dollars. They don't want no.
You cannot contain white supremacy but so long. White supremacy is a cancer. White supremacy is a malignant root. White supremacy is going to take out everything in its sight. That's how it is. You cannot put a lid on white supremacy. You have a president right now that just invaded Venezuela, struck them on damn near on New Year's Day, kidnapped their president and his wife, stole their oil production, and bragged about it. These white supremacists are not going to slow down now. That was a dog whistle. That was a dog whistle. They got a battery in their back. They're willing to take out everything that doesn't comply with them. That's what the message was. If you try to resist, if you try to escape, then you will be a casualty. That was the message that white supremacy put out. They can't contain it. They got war in their members, like James 4:1 says. Let me read that scripture. It says, "From whence come war and fighting among you? Come they not hence? Even of your lusts, that war is in your members." War is in their members. War is a part of them. Let's continue here because truth is getting out there.
When it comes to that ICE agent killing that woman, this is beyond Democrat and Republican. So all you cowards in my comments that want to call me a libtard, you're fucking retarded. When it comes down to it, politics aside, that woman was an American citizen. And she was shot in the fucking face by a federal agent. And you can go look at the video. If you're not lying to yourself, you will see. She even fucking waved for the guys to go around her. They could have went around her just like the first car did. Instead, they got out of the car and showed force. And I would expect her to do what any untrained citizen would. Especially when a bunch of thugs jump out of their car coming at her like they're gonna carjack her. And I also expect that coward-ass ICE agent to act as a trained agent and not to shoot somebody in the face because they're scared. But like I said, she was an American citizen. She deserved due process, not a fucking death sentence. And it's wild to me that the majority of the people saying that she deserved that are don't tread on me people. Please. If you cowards are fucking truthful to yourself, the only reason you don't stand up against this shit is because exactly what they're doing. They use violence to keep you in line. We have to answer with violence. Like I said, this is beyond Democrat and Republicans. And if you're still buying into that cooked, played out fucking bullshit, I don't know what to say, man. Good luck to you. When it comes to that ICE agent killing that woman.
Yeah, you know, people got to get off that Democrat, Republican nonsense. It's nonsense. You got to get off that. And, you know, I don't agree with everything he just said because he's talking about, well, he makes a good point when he says that the only way to respond is with violence if they want solutions. That's only if they want solutions. Now, let me make this clear. I'm not telling anybody to go do that. I'm just telling you what it would take to actually have a solution. That's why they're sending the National Guards to Minnesota, because it has to be an armed force. Because these people already got that battery in their back. They already on demon time. But what I agree with is when he says, this ain't about right or left. Y'all got to get off of that. That's a trick and a ploy from the media. This is good versus evil. This is right versus wrong. This is not Democrat, Republican. They want to politicize everything that happens in this country. Somebody will sit up there and ask you, do you agree with what the ICE agent did? And if you say, no, I don't agree with it, they automatically think you're a liberal. They automatically think you're on the left. I don't have any political affiliations. I'm not on the left. I'm not a part of Antifa. I don't want nothing to do with the left. But guess what? I ain't a part of the right either. I'm just what you would call a free thinker. They're not going to place me in some paradigm. And I think you all should look at this the same, man. Don't get pigeonholed. Don't get typecasted by people. No, this is about freedom or oppression. You know, that's what it's about.
And it's my honor now to sign into law 4 pieces of legislation that go in effect immediately upon signature, and 1 on the masking that will formally go into effect January of 2026. SB 627, the anti-masking law. Thank you. And it's my honor now to sign into law.
So California got the anti-masking law. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Because when these people are in the heat of the moment, they're still going to be willing to pull triggers if they got to. Why? Because you got the president right now saying they got complete immunity. We got an active investigation going on Renee's death. And you got the president and vice president saying that those ICE agents got full immunity. That ain't do nothing but piss the people off even more. That's all it really did.
We can't throw actual ICE agents into the harbor because we are a nonviolent movement, but we are here symbolically throwing 342 pounds of ice into the harbor, which is the same amount of tea that was dumped into the harbor 252 years ago.
The ICE Tea Party followed the same path as the original Boston Tea Party, starting by the Old South Meeting House and marching to the Boston Harbor. This time, instead of protesting taxation without representation, the group was fighting back against Trump administration policies like tariffs and mass deportations by ICE.
They're dumping ICE, representing, the Gestapo ICE.
Since the 1973, Cali Fit says worst governor in America. That's his opinion, so you don't have to redact his comments. That's just his opinion. All right, thank you, though.
and what they've been doing, rounding up people indiscriminately, people of color.
But some of those themes from over 2 centuries ago still rang true.
Tariffs back then were considered really bad for people and hurting their pocketbooks. And we've got a lot of stuff going on today that is...
See, this ain't gonna do a damn thing. Y'all throwing ice cubes in the damn water. You know, I was curious to see how Middle America is gonna react. In different states, they doing different things. That's not gonna do nothing but make the ocean colder. I mean, what are you doing? You know, listen, military power don't respect none of this. They don't respect none of that. I'm just gonna keep it 1,000 with you.
Hitting people really hard where it hurts.
You have to hand it to Boston, with its long history of resistance.
Considering it is under 30 degrees in Boston, I want to estimate the crowd at about 1,000 people. We can't throw actual ICE agents into the harbor because we are a nonviolent movement, but we are here symbolically throwing 342 pounds of ice into the harbor, which is the same amount of tea that was dumped into the harbor, 250.
Yeah, you know, that's pretty symbolic, but that ain't gonna get no answers or no results. And also, some of the reasons I believe that there's an agenda to cause chaos. Ice-T got on stage, the rapper Ice-T, and some of you all know the old rap song "Cop Killer." So he gets on stage and he remixes F Ice. I mean, he remixes the song and put ice in it, and there's like a whole, I mean, thousands of people out there. I don't know. It's like they're trying to push chaos in America. It's like they're trying to push it. Now, peep this.
This is going out to all the ICE agents. See those fingers running up in motherfuckers. Fuck them all. I don't give a fuck.
You can't tell me they're not trying to push chaos in America. You know, I done prayed about this, and you know, the Most High put it on my heart to tell my people to stay out of this. Because when you see taskmasters or, you know, celebrity puppets like Ice-T, 1,000, and they use Ice-T, look at all these Caucasian folks out here. They're trying to push some anarchy. Like this right here, you know. When you see a crowd like this, getting brainwashed, these people, these are the crash outs. These are the crash outs right here. They lead a concert ready to really do some dirt. But that's what America want. They want to put boots on the ground. They want to do lockdowns. For real. Go.
I changed the word. Ice Killer!
Ice Killer. That's propaganda. That's propaganda. There's an agenda, y'all. There's an agenda.
This is it, guys. This is the tipping point. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I'm going to tell you how to prepare for the impending civil and world war. And I know that that sounds scary, and I am not trying to fearmonger here, but please stay with me. Today, J.D. Vance went on record and publicly declared that that ICE officer who shot Renee Good has absolute immunity before an investigation is even complete, and they have all of the facts. So you know what else that means? That means he thinks he has immunity, and Trump has immunity. He just gave every member of ICE permission to unalive Americans. Let me repeat that. Our vice president of the goddamn United States gave total immunity to ICE, to off Americans. Don't get it twisted. This is state-sanctioned harm. The same shit that happened in 1930s and 1940s Germany. They are telling us that our lives come second to their authority. And here's the part that people might want to hear. If you are actually paying your taxes still, well, you can stop now. Because for the last year, they have taken away our rights, our benefits, our opportunity in the United States, and now they've actually taken away our protection. And our government is co-signing government agencies hunting us down and saying that it is okay. Meanwhile, they want to send $100,000 to each citizen in Greenland while most of us can't even frickin' buy food. We are being destabilized internally while things are escalating with Russia, with China, with Venezuela, with Europe, and more. We have a fucking target on our backs right now, and we're supposed to pretend like this is all normal? Hell no. This is how societies slide into civil conflict, with erosion, with fear, and with unchecked power. And so this is what I'm going to leave you with. We didn't call World War I and World War II those names when they were happening, okay? Let that sink in. 2, you need to stop paying your taxes, and you need to keep cash on hand, and you need to have things that you can barter. 3, I hate to say it, but you need to be prepared in your homes, and you need to know how to protect yourself. So take that for what it's worth. I know that this feels heavy. It is. But if we have learned anything from history, it is that power without accountability always turns on the people. And it is time that we stand up.
I'm gonna tell you, she didn't tell one lie. There was not one lie told. That's my sentiments exactly. And you know, being prepared doesn't mean you're afraid, but being prepared is actually you exercising your faith, and also your common sense. And there's a scripture that comes to mind that I would like to share with y'all. There's definitely a scripture that comes to mind. And it is in, it's the book of Habakkuk, 1 and 2. It says, "Why dost thou show me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doeth never go forth." See, this is a prophet literally questioning the Most High about the violence in the streets and the things that's going on and all of the broken law. And the Most High pretty much responds with, this is a sign. This is a sign of those times. So instead of questioning the Most High, like, why is all the world all messed up and all, it really should be reinforcing to us that this is the time where we should be aware and, be 10 toes down. The scripture was the book of Habakkuk. It's in the Apocrypha, by the way. That's in the Apocrypha. But I'm telling you, preparation is wisdom. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that have been is that which shall be. There is no new thing under the sun. Right? History repeats itself. It ain't the first time that a land has reached a kingdom, an empire has reached a boiling point. America's getting there. It's warming up. It's definitely warming up. It's definitely warming up, y'all.
And while we're talking about it, Renee Nicole Good is not the first person to be unalived by ICE. Keith Porter Jr. was unalived on New Year's Eve by an off-duty ICE agent in LA. Silvario Villegas Gonzalez was unalived in a traffic stop by an ICE agent near Chicago. And yet the one that gets the most media attention is the white woman. And yet her whiteness was not enough to protect her from being unalived by the ICE Popsicle gang member. Jenry Ruiz Gulian, a Honduran man who died in ICE custody. Sarawit Dijin, a Ethiopian who died in ICE custody. Brian Garzon Rayo, a Colombian man who died in ICE custody. Pete Samalo Montejo, a Filipino national, died in ICE custody. Chao Fengyi, Chinese detainee, died in ICE custody. Shiraz Fatahali Shiwani, Pakistani detainee, died in ICE custody. Fuhad Sadin Al-Dukarhir, Eritrean detainee, died in ICE custody. Jean Wilson Brutus, Haitian detainee, died in ICE custody. Nenko Stanev Ganchev, Bulgarian detainee, died in ICE custody. Leo Cruz Silva, Mexican detainee, died in ICE custody. Every single one of their names deserve to be said. Every single one of their stories deserve to be told. They should all be getting the equal amount of attention that Renee Nicole Good is getting. One story is not more important than the other. One person's life was not more important than the other. They all deserve to be heard, seen, their stories shared, and justice given to their families. And this also needs to be a pivotal turning point so that y'all understand it's not just us. They're coming for you too. If this doesn't make you angry because those other people being unalive did not, may this be the thing that radicalizes you. And
now, she's right. I'm not going to go ahead and agree with the word radicalize you. There's no need for you to be radicalized. What the need is for you to wake up out your slumber. Wake up out your slumber. As Americans, regardless of what your nationality is, especially if you of Caucasian persuasion, you can't have your nose up in the air at what they label minorities anymore. You're gonna have to think about what's going on with everyone. You're gonna have to, you moving forward. It's all for one and one for all. That's how your mentality has to switch up. And understand the reason why things are the way they are is because of your willful ignorance, your complacency, your compliance. The Bible says when the wicked bear rule, the people shall mourn. When the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. We are the Most High's chosen people. We've been going through these persecutions, these prosecutions, this oppression, this violence, this hatred. We've been going through this ever since we've been here. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. And we've been ran through the gauntlet ever since we've been here. The reason why you have the civil liberties you have is because the very same people that they were chasing around the hood in Chicago and DC and California, those very same people built this country. And if they could just pack us up and get rid of us, they would do that too. But our ancestors fought for us to have the right to have stock to this land and be able to vote and be able to have citizenship. If our ancestors didn't fight, they would have packed us up just like our Hispanic brothers and sisters, who also helped with building the country, just in a different time span. But you were okay with that as long as you can enjoy what we built for you. Now, unless you turn America on its head and really flip this thing over, don't expect no change. You see what our people had to do to get some respect. Y'all see what we did when they did something to Rodney King. We tore that up. If y'all not moving like that, you're not as tired as you think you're not as tired as you think you are. If you're not moving like that, you ain't really tired as you think you are. Our people endure so much, and we some loving, compassionate people. It take a lot to push us over the top. But that's the same kind of energy you got to give up, or these people going to keep on coming. Not saying it's going to happen all at once, but there's going to be more situations where these tyrannical powers are going to be eliminating folks out here. Telling you.
was he riding with her?
So they did a little memorial for her, little whatever the case is. Hey, I wanna go here.
It happened again.
Local and federal sources tell ABC News that federal agents shot 2 people in Portland, Oregon. We're learning that the circumstances right now are a little unclear, but the FBI is responding. The agents who shot, we're told, are with U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The FBI will be investigating and
So they didn't win this. Basically, they saying they didn't terminated some people that work at U.S. Customs, or at least it was around U.S. Customs. Listen to this again. I mean, like I said, it ain't gonna stop. It ain't gonna stop.
As the lead agency.
Just a day after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good in Minneapolis, Customs and Border Patrol agents shot 2 people in Portland. This is a developing story, but I can't help but notice this comes just hours after J.D. Vance said this.
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
Absolute immunity. Are you serious? So the standard now for the Trump-Vance administration is any federal agent with a gun can fucking kill you, can shoot you, no matter what. And they are totally immune from consequences. That's the standard you want to set. The party who just spent weeks bemoaning the death of Charlie Kirk, denouncing political violence in all forms. Now state violence is sanctioned explicitly. The blood is on their hands. The blood is on Donald Trump's hands. It's on J.D. Vance's hands. It's on Kristi Noem's hands. They are directly responsible for this. It's happened before, and it will continue to happen unless they stop this. It happened again.
Modern day Gestapo, man. Modern day Gestapo. I'm telling you, y'all. They got 2 U.S. border agents was just shot in Portland. Listen, this ain't Chicago and D.C. and in the hood. No, man. This happened in Portland, Oregon, Minnesota, Minneapolis, and it's happening in the Carolinas and different parts of the Carolinas. And man, they can't put a lid on this. Somebody shared Ecclesiastes 1:9. What y'all think gonna happen in these midterms? You think these people gonna get them out of there? You would think that Trump would try to ease up and try to show some damn compassion, because he got these midterms coming and he already running around scared that he gonna be impeached. Y'all still think the Republicans gonna win the vote? What y'all think? Let me see. Tania says they knew the black community were children of God. So boom, oppression off the bat. Anyone who doesn't go along with them will get oppressed too. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. I'm telling you, man. Hey, listen. Going down right now. The early signs of a civil war. America.
Watch what happened last night when the NBA team Minnesota Timberwolves had a moment of silence for ICE victim Renee Good.
Please join us in a moment of silence.
Watch what happened last night when the NBA team Minnesota Timberwolves had a moment of silence for ICE victim Renee Good.
Please join us in a moment of silence.
Yeah, you had the Minnesota Timberwolves do a moment of silence. You know, there's arenas of people getting riled up against ICE. arenas of people. Only a matter of time before they start, really moving. Something gonna give. Let me see. Somebody says, "Where's Renee?" Laughing emoji. You think this is funny? Do you a favor. You think it's a game? Let me do you a favor, real. Let's just time this dude out for a while, y'all. Moderators, and we can just. I don't think that's funny that this woman got her brains blown across a dashboard in front of her house. I don't think that. You're not gonna do.
How's it going?
Where we at?
Where what?
Where are we at?
Where are we at?
Yeah, can you tell them this location? What are we doing here?
You can feel free.
I'm just chilling at my job in the Uber, and this lady just pulls over, and she's like, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" In a parking lot at work. That's the officer lady, and they just shot somebody right now in Minnesota. Imagine that. Are we in Germany?
Too far, bro.
Why are you guys doing this?
You tell me, sir.
Why are you guys going around just asking people like at work whether they're U.S. citizens or not?
Yeah, there's supposed to be some new bill that I hear a lot of creators mentioning about ICE knocking on every single door and basically checking to see if you're a U.S. citizen or not. This is what I'm hearing. Y'all, let me know I still got sound. I don't see my sound mixer moving at all. Let me know I got, okay, I see it. It just clicked. All right. But how y'all feel about that? If ICE knocks on your door? I mean, even if you are a U.S. citizen, imagine military in the streets knocking on every single door. You in your house chilling. They come try to get your ID and want to see your passport. I mean, is this what America's coming to?
Are you guys not supposed to be patrolling the border?
Do you want to answer the question or not?
Why would I answer you? Where's your warrant?
We're running your plates.
Run your plates. So you do whatever you want.
You can record.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy though, right? Like you guys leave the border and go harass people based on their skin color? Ain't that a shame? Are you doing this to everybody or it's just black people? Come on now, you know what it is. And you got a GoPro.
Yes.
That's
recording, I'm recording.
Is that work issued?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
They're giving you guys GoPros? What happened to the police body cam?
Yeah, I mean, I guess racial profiling is legal now. They have officially found a loophole to make racial profiling legal.
Oh shit, he's got his gun. He pulled out his fucking gun.
This just happened at a demonstration in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I want to ask you guys the question, does it look like this woman, a safety marshal, ensuring that people are staying safe and calm at a demonstration with high emotional tension, did anything to provoke this reaction from the ICE agent? I'm sure that conservatives are already in the comment section scrambling to point out how this woman with her hands at the side was threatening to run over this man with her car, or maybe stomp her with her tiny fuzzy winter boots. If this were to have happened in any other country, Americans would be coming together condemning the regime that oppressed a civilian's First Amendment right. But since it's in America, we have half of the country supporting this because they think Donald Trump is going to save us from the evil radical left. We do not understand how close we were to another Boston massacre. This is oppression. This is our rights being stripped away. And we warned you before you elected an orange tyrant.
Wow, wow, wow. When you see state officials and federal agents clashing like this and they quick to up burners, quick to put a gun in your face, that's problematic. That means they don't even regard local law enforcement at all. They don't care. You know, even there's always been some level of respect from federal to state. You know, even in the movies, y'all, when the feds got to get involved, you know, the police would be a little bit jealous, in the movies, like, oh, the feds got a hold of it. Oh man, we could have handled that. But it was always a level of respect. In some of the movies, you know, they would work together. You know, the state would work together with the feds to try to figure out a serial killer or something. Now, like the federal officers now, they really ready to murk police officers. They ready to murk police officers. This is where we at in America, y'all. I seen somebody in the chat say they've been racial profiling for FBAs. That's a fact. But this is insane. So when I say that we look like we're in the early stages of civil war, I mean, you got local law enforcement calling ICE domestic terrorists pretty much. And eventually this can turn fatal. Like it can be literally shootouts between state and feds. All it takes is one of these guns to go off on an actual officer. There's already some officers that got tear gassed. But if one of these guns go off on an actual state officer, whatever state that is, they deploying, I mean, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a straight up war. But y'all know what I mean, though, in the movies, there's always a level of respect between feds and state. But to see them turning on each other, do you really want to be a citizen in the middle of that? If like in Minnesota, they're talking about sending the National Guard to protect the citizens from ICE, right? That means y'all need to listen. That means y'all people in Minnesota need to go in the house. That means y'all need to go in the house. Because you don't want to get caught up in between that. That's a war. Gladiator, thank you for the support, my brother. Says all praises to the Most High God and Christ. Peace, New Breed. Blessings to everyone just waking up from a nap. Off today. Let's prepare. Absolutely. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. This is crazy, man. This is nasty work, but the people are taken to the streets.
Like most major cities in America, Baltimore is marching in solidarity, protesting the killing of Renee Good and demanding that ICE get off our streets. But I just found out that 2 hours ago, ICE has shot 2 people in Portland, Oregon. I don't know the condition of the people, but this has to stop. This has to stop. If you feel afraid, if you feel outnumbered, just know that you are not alone. A people united can never be defeated. And we're going to win this together.
This is Civil War talk. Now the pattern has begun. I want to read a scripture here. And I want to go to Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. See, I believe personally that it's a time to pretty much hide yourself because it's chaos coming in these streets. Prudent man going to hide himself from this. Not get involved. Don't let these people politically sway you one direction or the other. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Renee Nicole Good was murdered in cold blood in broad daylight by ICE. And no matter how the administration tries to spin it, there's absolutely no excuse for shooting someone in the face for trying to execute a 3-point turn to escape a dangerous situation that should not have been happening. And Governor Walz, you may have seen, has now threatened to mobilize the National Guard to protect the citizens of Minnesota from ICE.
Now that's key. They're threatening to deploy the National Guards to protect the citizens from ICE. And they may be able to do it. I mean, they're doing a moment of silence for her in the game. You got Ice-T riling everybody up. There's there's protests taking place nationwide. Perhaps they will get. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this, because this is crazy. Who is going to deploy the National? Since when? Well, the state does have the ability to deploy National Guard. Never mind. But my question is, will Trump be able to stop the deployment of the National Guard? Did he override that decision? That's my question. Anyway, let's go.
Now, whether that's an empty threat or not, what it ultimately is going to culminate in is men with guns on behalf of the state pointing said guns at men with guns, terrorizing the public on behalf of the federal government. And that is a scary place to be. And I think at this point, we need to confront the fact that we are at a tipping point and need to start taking things a little bit more seriously. This crosses a line for a country that I think we all have to acknowledge is deeply racist. But when they kidnap and when they kill people of color, the government has a methodology of painting that person as a criminal, leveraging their racism to make excuses, to use.
They're doing the same thing with Renee now, too, because of her sexual orientation or perceived sexual orientation and her marital status and background. So they're going to do that with anybody moving forward. But he's right. There is a methodology. Anytime a black male is murdered in America, they got a whole script to criminalize that individual. Oh, it's just the facts.
Use that as a shield. This is a young white mother from Minnesota. They aren't going to be able to run that play, and I think it's a wake-up call even to the MAGA chuds who may have thought that we were in a race war when actually we are in a class war, or maybe both.
It's more like a civil war. I would call it a civil war at this point. The only thing stopping it from being a civil war is having a mass armed militia. That's the only thing stopping it. When you start seeing these folks come out there with their Elmer Fudd shotguns, and they out there with their camouflage on, and you see them good old boys pull up with their pickup trucks, and you know they got their grenades in the back, and you got Bubba and them laying in the back of the pickup trucks, then you got a civil war. When they get to that point, when those purge folks want to come outside because they see so much anarchy taking place, and you got the real radicals and the real extremists, when they start hitting them streets because there's so much going on, then you have a civil war in America. And we look like we could be at the early stages of one. And 2026 just started. I mean, damn, y'all. It just started. Are we 9 days in? Damn, it feel like we at least been in this for 2 months. It's so much going on in our nation. It feel like we 2 months in already. We 9 days in, y'all. Crazy work.
Actually, I think we're in both. But the class war thing is important because one of the ways that we can push back in a class war is with the general strike. So I think now's the time to be talking about this. Now's the time to be hitting the streets and protesting en masse. And now is the time to be performing a general strike. Now, you can go to generalstrikeus.com and sign up. We need to send a message that we are not okay with extrajudicial killings happening on the streets of our cities.
Yes, y'all gonna have to do a little more than that.
I dropped an F-bomb. I dropped an F-bomb they killed somebody. Which one of those is more inflammatory? I'm going with the killing somebody. They stand by their statements. Do you stand by your statements? I stand by my statements. We stand by our statements. I'll look back to what I said. What I said was it was reckless abuse of power. Yes, it was a reckless abuse of power. I said that what the narrative that the administration was pushing in the immediacy following this shooting was garbage and false and BS. It was. I stand by every one of those. I dropped an F-bomb. I dropped an F-bomb. They killed somebody. Which one of those is more inflammatory?
My bad if it was an echo, y'all. I want to read a scripture in the chat. The 19 or old school rules. He shares 2 Corinthians 4:17. It says, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. We look not the things which are seen, but all things that are unseen." That is right. And that's the spirit we got to be in. Because the true uprising comes with patience, faith, truth, knowledge, awareness. Being able to be quiet at the right time. Composure is key in this day and age. If you listen, when things get chaotic in America, if you at a checkpoint, you got to be able to conduct yourself properly. That can save your life in this day and age. You got to be able to maneuver wisely. You got to be, like the scriptures say, quick to hear, slow to speak. You got to deal with yourself with dignity, have some decorum. Because when things get crazy out here, which they already are shifting towards that direction, you have to be able to move accordingly. That comes with the mental stability that the Holy Spirit can give you, scriptures can give you. Like all of y'all right now, y'all watching some of the best commentary on YouTube, but on top of that, what you're hearing is truth. And y'all gravitating towards this truth because y'all are the ones who are really preparing for the future. That's why you yearn to hear this type of knowledge and wisdom, because that's what's going to get you through. Having a calm, contrite spirit, regardless of what kind of chaos going on. Not allowing them to pull you in. Not allowing them to toss you to and fro and make you a crash out dummy. And you also got to be willing to actually depart from this, all of this. You got to be willing to do what it takes when it's time to walk away. Because it may come a time where the Most High is telling you it's time to walk away. Some of y'all in these highly concentrated cities, in these areas, the Most High may be telling you it's time to walk away from that place. Some of you all, the Most High may be telling you it's time to walk away from the country. Walk away from that job you at. Walk away. Why? Because there's something else for you that can really keep you secure while everything is happening the way it's happening. But that's real talk. But the Most High got something great for us. Let's continue here.
She's a minor! Don't touch her! Don't fucking touch her! We're citizens here! We're not fucking idiots!
ICE tried to abduct an 11-year-old girl in Little Village on Saturday. I was there. They didn't have a warrant. They didn't have probable cause. They didn't even have reasonable suspicion. Her mom, her grandma, and protesters saved her. Watch.
Be scared! Don't be scared! She's a fucking citizen!
So and the little girl, I got witness with my granddaughter. She got it on her phone too, showing how they did them.
She's a minor! Don't touch her! Don't fucking touch her! We're citizens here!
Yeah, ICE is walking around just doing whatever they want. And I wouldn't doubt if it's some y'all know that some CT going on. Y'all see the word right here. KK Hannigan wrote it right there. It might be some CT going on. Let me read this scripture here. Old School Rules, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. It says, he that have knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of excellent spirit. That's right. That's right. That is very much valuable in this day and age. Save your life.
Hey, America, so you're telling me J.D. Vance and the whole Trump administration wants to go to every citizen's door and just to see if they are legal citizens. That's what they want to do? Well, I'm going to legally tell you how to get rid of ICE in that situation. One, they need a judicial warrant. Without that, they have no reason to be on your property or even inside your home.
And all that sounds swell, but when these ICE people get the numbers they need to go door to door, they don't care about no damn judicial warrant. They're not going to care about that. They come banging on your door and you like, hold on now, pal, where's your judicial warrant? That's just going to infuriate them. And at what point do people do what they need to do? Y'all see what people need to do. Y'all looking at the screen. Somebody in the comment section got the right idea. Somebody in the comment section got the right idea. Listen, the people of this comment section understand, and see, this is why I'm saying that a civil war could come. Hey, listen, the book of Luke says, sell your cloak to buy a sword. Somebody share that scripture in my chat. I'm telling you. I'm just saying. The people viewing, this is how real Americans are thinking. And I want y'all to consider something. The only reason there haven't been martial law yet, nationwide, the only reason why they haven't fulfilled the Georgia Guidestones and the depopulation agenda is because of this right here. Amend 2. This is the only reason. What you see going on right here is because America has a lot of firearms. It's the only thing stopping these tyrants from taking over. Luke 22:36 is the scripture I was looking for. I see it. Let's read that. And it says, then said he unto them, but now he that have a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that have no sword, let him sell his garments and buy one. That's right. That means sell the clothes off your back to get what you need to protect you and your family. Listen, the Constitution says you're supposed to protect yourself from foreign and domestic threats. I'm just saying. Foreign and domestic. Matter of fact, Amend 2 tell you exactly what it is. Look, you got to get your Clint Eastwood. You got to get your Clint Eastwood. Damn, this chat is not playing. I mean, just look at the chat. These people ain't playing. I'm just saying, if it came to a real threat coming to your home.
And if they decide to get aggressive, which ICE will most likely end up doing because they barely have any training, this is what you do next. You go practice your Second Amendment right.
That's the only other option.
Fatality.
Because look, it's a lot of cowards, a lot of coons, a lot of cowards, man. There's a lot of weak people out there that be like, you just got to comply. You got to comply. Listen, if it's your life or mine, it is what it is. It's only so much complying you can do. When somebody comes to murder you, they came there to murder you. It's premeditated. What you gonna be? You know, everybody who get gunned down by ICE or any tyrannical government, anybody get gunned down, you're gonna sit up there and say, oh, they didn't comply. It's like, shut your. They didn't comply.
My nigga breathe the time.
How much complying you gonna do? You in your home minding your business. Somebody busts down your door with no warrant. What the hell? What type of complying can you do at that point? That's what I want to know. People gonna comply their way into giving their whole freedom up.
You are allowed to defend yourself by any means necessary.
By any means necessary. That's what Malcolm X told us too. On everything.
ICE. Oh, this is not a threat to ICE. This is a promise. This is a promise that you will not be making it home to your family, especially if you come knocking on my doorstep. If you come knocking on my doorstep, you're not making it home. Matter of fact, I'll probably go make a TikTok and dance about it later how I am knocked off an ICE agent. I'm telling you right now, America, you have every right to defend yourself against this Trump regime. And I know a lot of people is going to disagree with this and say, if you're here legally, just show the paperwork. You have no business being on my doorstep in the first place. But if this is the road.
And then, you know, they're not going to just be on your doorstep. They're going to enter your home. They're going to find a way to enter. They're going to find a way to enter. I'm telling you, they're not going to just knock on your door. Like, I'm telling you, bro, like, it's one thing if they, I don't know. You have rights in America. You have rights. You have rights. Anyway, let's go.
That they want to go down, well, then I just guess maybe civil war is just going to be the only action. Hey,
you hear that? He said, I guess civil war would be their only action. But it is. Now, let's hear what Trump had to say, y'all. This is crazy. This is crazy what Trump said about it afterwards in this updated video.
People are being killed every single month.
The vice president yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by this ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What has your team told you about this broad left-wing network? Who is in charge of it? Who's part of it? What's it called?
Well, I haven't seen the vice president's statement, but he's generally very accurate. I hate to say, look, I watched that yesterday, and there were a lot of different forms to it. But there was a woman screaming, "Shame, shame, shame, shame." She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker, because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this, the news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement.
Yo, that's crazy. Imagine somebody getting their brains blown across a dashboard yard, and the president says, nobody just screams like that. Imagine somebody manically screaming after seeing somebody getting their head blown off. Brain fragments all over the damn dashboard, blood all over the place. He's talking about, well, they must have been paid agitators for reacting to seeing it. Yo, this dude is insane. And on top of that, he's lying, because I got some footage to prove that he's lying.
with the very latest on what's happening there. Garrett, good afternoon.
Yeah, Trace, good afternoon. This new video will be a crucial piece of evidence in this investigation because it was recorded by the agent himself, and it shows the events leading up to the shooting from his point of view. Here is that entire video.
Now, this woman has a smile on her face. She don't look like a violent threat, any of it. Now, we can't play the whole video. I'm telling you now, we can't play the video because it's graphic. But what you're about to see, what you're about to witness, matter of fact, you can do it this way. I'm going to play to a certain point. I'm going to play to a certain point. Now, this is from the cop's body cam. And this actually just dropped minutes ago. So we on it. I'm not going to play the entire video because it has the warning graphic on there.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
She says, "It's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." Does this sound like a professional agitator? Or do we see a professional hit?
Show your face. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen.
And this one, it would have left. The person who got out the car was being a little bit, she was really the person that got out the car was just standing her ground. Like, look, we U.S. citizens. I'm in front of my home. She just kind of standing her ground. What are people supposed to curl up and be afraid? When our tax dollars go towards these federal agents, people supposed to live their life in fear. Now, you got to understand, this is middle America. They think they still got rights in America. Blacks, browns, Native Americans, Latino, we already found out we don't got rights. The only way we can get home when we get pulled over is pray to the Lord. That's it. That's it. We call on the Most High. That's what get us out of situations because it don't matter how much you comply. It don't matter how much you comply. They're going to do what they're going to do unless the Most High is with you and decides that that's not your time. The only agitators I see is these damn ICE agents. We're going to skip the shooting, but you seen the temperature they were on. You didn't hear no professional agitators. We're going to skip over that part. You didn't hear none of that. You heard some people that was coming out their home. One was like, hey, I'm going to stand my ground. The other one was like, look, I ain't even mad at you. Until guns was drawn, because that's what's on the body cam footage. I'm not going to play it, but I'm going to show it. We're going to get a still image of it. I'm telling you, these people gonna have it coming, man. They're gonna have ICE gonna have a hot day in hell, boy. Hot day in hell. Let's go.
Vice President J.D. Vance reacted to this new video on X saying, many of you have been told this law enforcement officer wasn't hit by a car, wasn't being harassed, and murdered an innocent woman. The reality is that his life was endangered and he fired in self-defense. No response to the new video from city officials, but earlier today, Mayor Jacob Fry doubled down on his belief that this was a reckless abuse of power and that any argument that this agent feared for his life are BS.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Now, that's crazy. That's crazy work right there. That's crazy. I want to show y'all briefly how Fox News has just been demonizing this one. Like, I'm going to show you how they dehumanize people after they wrongfully murder.
We begin this hour watching Minnesota and Portland, Oregon protests.
in some cases in those areas turning violent, not free speech, but all-out chaos.
All out chaos. It just gets worse and worse out there. Let me make sure I get this echo out. Damn, look, just in these few minutes, just look how much tension it is out there. What is it about Minneapolis where this type of stuff always going on? Let's continue.
And in Minneapolis, it's following the ICE-involved shooting. The victim there we're learning more about, known as a far-left activist with some ties to some interesting people and groups. Portland, Oregon, 2 shootings overnight. I should say 2 people shot overnight, tied to Trinidad Aragua, according to the Department of Homeland Security. We will get into all of it this hour. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Things got pretty ugly in Minnesota last night.
Oh my God, drag him back. Go back.
I just never thought I would see this going on in predominantly white neighborhood. Like we're in an alternative universe. I'm telling you.
Federal agents arrested at least 12 people there last night and calling them protesters at this point. Let's move into agitators, and if they prove crimes against them, we'll call them criminals. Agents.
So now they're not calling these people protesters. Everybody out there is agitators now. Now, after what happened, you would think our government would our president would try to de-escalate. Why is it there no de-escalation attempts by those in control right now? There's no de-escalation attempts. It's like, look, that ICE agent got total immunity. You would think that they would publicly condemn the ICE agent and be like, hey, we're going to give you some paid leave. Don't worry about it. No. What is the message they're giving? The message is you're under our authority. No longer federal agency is your tax dollars going towards protecting you. No, you're under our authority. If we want to take one of you out because you don't comply, you will be wiped out with no remorse. You will be dealt with extreme prejudice. That's the message being put out. And no, these are not protesters anymore. They're antagonists. And they're this close to being labeled criminal. That's the message. And these people out here are criminals. That's the message the government is giving. This, I'm telling you. Yep, that is the message, Sherry. The message is we are dispendable.
Federal agents arrested at least 12 people there last night and calling them protesters at this point. Let's move into agitators, and if they prove crimes against them, we'll call them criminals. Agents were forced to use tear gas and pepper balls to disperse the agitators, and tensions are also high around the investigation into that shooting. State officials are now urging the federal government to let them be part of the probe.
So what made them agitators? I thought the First Amendment was the right to protest. What made them agitators? Because they brung ICE out there? Why is ICE even involved? Why is ICE even out there while these people are protesting? Shouldn't the National Guard be there instead to make sure that the protest goes without any violence? Why is ICE? I mean, they're literally cultivating the perfect storm. Imagine you protesting against ICE and Trump sends ICE out there. Damn. They don't send a National Guard to make sure the protest is friendly, to make sure people are practicing they First Amendment. No, you protesting against ICE, let's send ICE. Go out there and let's send a message. They protest against you, you go out there and start pepper spraying and hitting these people with rubber bullets and tear gas. That is not de-escalation.
Well, they were, but the federal government has jurisdiction. And now the feds are arguing Minnesota does not have that legal jurisdiction. They don't. Here's Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey.
You got nothing to hide from, then don't hide from it. Include local experts in the process. We got nothing to hide from here. All we want in Minneapolis is justice and the truth.
And of course, before he could go further, he had to explain why he was dropping F-bombs and promised not to make any more. But he wants us to find experts. I hope he doesn't consider himself one. Well, just into Fox now. Brand new video from the Daily Mail. Watch this closely. I've only seen it once, right before we came to air. Their reporting shows the woman killed, Renee Nicole Good, was already blocking the road for 4 minutes before that confrontation with ICE agents. She was doing so that her wife.
Yeah, the body cam footage did show the officer calling her a B word after blowing her brains across the dash. These people are demons. These people are demons. Blew her brains out across the dashboard, then called her a B word. She was just trying to escape.
Could leap out of the car to begin filming, which we know she was continuing to do throughout this whole thing. We're also learning more about the woman whom agents killed in that shooting. Sources saying that Nicole Renee Good was an immigration activist who was part of a left-wing group that would monitor and interfere with federal immigration enforcement operations. In fact, on the ground that very afternoon this week, you could hear the whistle blowing. It's something that they're known to do so that they can tell the neighborhood that ICE agents are in the area.
Y'all believe this? How many of y'all believe what the news is saying right now? We're talking about a 37-year-old mother of two. A 37-year-old mother of two in this current economy. She got the time to be interrupting sting operations. They talking about secret whistles being blown? What? Yo, these people are professionals at spinning narratives. And I'm going to tell you, these MAGA supporters believe, I mean, they eat this type of stuff up, but this is just horrible. Let me let the news do what it's going to do. But this is crazy, man. This woman ain't even been buried yet, and this is what they gonna do. This is crazy. What we witnessing right now from this lady is witchcraft, bro. This is witchcraft. I don't even know who gave her this script, but this is crazy.
Former acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf is coming up with me in focus. Before that, Fox team coverage. Christina Coleman in Portland with more on the arrest there. Yes, and then first, Alexis McAdams in Minneapolis with the latest there. Alexis.
Hi, Harris. Well, you've been seeing it on your screen. Yesterday, we checked in with you in front of the federal building where there were all those protesters. We're expecting more again tonight and counting. And as you said, the mayor here in Minneapolis didn't drop an F-bomb today, but he didn't tell people not to, act out, because we've seen it where they're spitting and fighting with these federal agents. So I want to see what's going to happen again today. This comes as it's almost as if on the ground, Harris, the state and the local officials are watching a completely different video clip than the feds, because the city officials say it's murder, the feds say it was justified, but it led to those protests and also this picture that we're going to show you too on your screen. So this is Renee Nicole Good. We're learning that she was an activist, according to DHS sources. You tell me she was part of this group called Ice Watch, and we heard about it in other places, not just Minnesota. These people go out, they call themselves legal observers, but they're not just observing, according to the feds. Renee Nicole Good was using her car as a weapon, according to the federal prosecutors. They say she hit an agent with her car, and investigators say it's just so cold. Sorry.
How many people seen her hit an agent with her car? They say she's a part of some group called Ice Watch. How many members does this group have? Why they didn't show us her name in this group? Where do they congregate? Are they on Telegram? Are they on X? Are they on Twitter? Are they on Instagram? It sounds like some ish they just made up. She's a part of Ice Watch, where they interrupt our operations. And then they're telling us that she ran this man over or hit him with the vehicle. Nobody seen her hit him with the vehicle. I would go as far as to say that she got clear out of his way before he even set fire. I would argue that she nearly escaped before she was hit. Ice Watch. Primetime USA. The terror cell fastest group, Ice Watch. Can we get a 40-minute special on Ice Watch? What the hell, have y'all ever heard of that? Because I seen that steering wheel get turned in the opposite direction of that guy, and it looked like she was clear out the way before he fired that weapon. So how could America be comfortable with these people keep saying, literally lying to you, telling you that you didn't see what you seen with your eyes? This lady on the news just literally just said she hit this man with a vehicle. That's a lie. That's not true. You don't believe me? That's what she said. Listen.
Themselves legal observers, but they're not just observing, according to the feds. Renee Nicole Good was using her car as a weapon, according to the federal prosecutors. They say she hit an agent with her car. And
that's a lie. It's on camera. It's like, yo, we seen it on camera. She didn't hit anybody with her car. That's crazy.
Investigators say it's just so cold. Sorry. Say that she was with this group that monitors, tracks, interferes, and are against all federal immigration enforcement. Listen to this.
This individual, the subject in question, the deceased, had been following our law enforcement throughout the day, stalking them. At the time of this incident, our law enforcement was outside of their vehicle, trying to get their vehicle out of the snow, when she started blocking our law enforcement, harassing them, impeding lawful operations on the ground.
And then it would kind of ebb.
So this lady been gang stalking ICE? This mother of two who was clearly leaving her house. She let one vehicle pass. There's footage of her waving her arm. We just seen footage of her saying, look, I ain't even mad at you guys. She was calm with a smile on her face. This woman been stalking ICE, stopping them from performing operations. This 37-year-old white lady who has 2 children has been stalking ICE. And she was so in the way that she needed to be publicly executed. Is this what y'all gonna go with? She was obstructing the law so much that she had to be terminated. She was just a thorn in ICE's side. So she just been terrorizing ICE, according to Fox News. This person with no criminal record. This person with no criminal record is in some network called ICE Watch, where she just been following ICE around, stopping them from performing their duties. This is what they're gonna go with?
And flow when it comes to the ongoing protests, because they hear those city officials saying something, you know, act out, put your body in the line, whatever they're telling these people to do. They're setting up encampments that were cleared this morning, but they faced off with federal agents, Harris. Some of them spat on people. They fought with them. This is what we saw. Watch.
That's the after effect of what happened. You see how they try to preference this as if that's what happened in front of her house? Yo, they some deceptive liars, bro. Yo, just listen to how they tried to preference what happened. Like, they made it sound like this happened in front of the lady house and things got escalated and there was so much tension. This is crazy, y'all. Listen.
Line, whatever they're telling these people to do. They're setting up
operations on the ground.
protests, because they hear those city officials saying something, you know, act out, put your body in the line, whatever they're telling these people to do. They're setting up encampments that were cleared this morning, but they faced off with federal agents, Harris. Some of them spat on people. They fought with them. This is what we saw. Watch.
Now, mind you, that's the morning after. So that has nothing to do with what happened to that woman. This happened nearly 24 hours after she was murdered. That's when people were spitting on him and, you know, wilding out.
Watch. And if that wasn't enough, some people thought that they were going to block these agents from leaving the federal building. So they jumped on their cars. One of them tried to smack off the side rear view mirror. And some of them got arrested, because whether you like these federal officials or not, or you have questions, you know, you can't attack federal agents. So back out here live. The last thing, too, that I really think could be the big part of the story, Harris, is that the White House and federal investigators are looking into who funds these ICE watch groups, who trains these people to tell them, hey, show up here, get in the middle of an ICE ongoing operation. You know, I don't know.
Yo, you can't make this up. So the government's trying to figure out who is telling these people to show up. We're talking about America that has the most surveillance in the world. They don't know who is choreographing ICE to show up in different places. I mean, not ICE, but ICE Watch to show up in different places. Yo, I don't know, man. A lot of this stuff got to be scripted. This is crazy, man.
No, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, and we're also hearing reports about people who are wearing yellow vests who look like they're official on the streets, but they're not. And that's what's helping out those blockades like what we saw in South Minneapolis. Hydrate, stay warm. I was covering on the streets of Minnesota a lot. I know how cold it can get, my friend. Great reporting. Thank you.
It is. Thank you.
hundreds of agitators in Portland, Oregon last night. Maybe they showed up to protest, maybe some of them could, but then it turned into that. And now border agents have shot 2 suspected criminal illegal immigrants because they're there on a mission to get those people, and they did.
Yep. So, brothers and sisters, we are on the cuff of some type of civil war. It should be evident at this point. Of course, we're going to stay out of it. We're going to stay prayed up. We're going to stay prepared. We're going to move according. And I just wanted to really chop it up with y'all about this because, you know, we need to be on our post. We need to be watching. And I want to thank all of y'all for viewing. Always an honor building with like-minded people, people who add to the conversation. This is insane, but nonetheless, old school rule said it. Unchecked power always going to lead to some type of uprising. Of course, I got more material coming soon. Be giving y'all that spiritual voltage y'all signed up for. And that's right. Absolute power corrupts and it leads to destruction. Stay vigilant, my friends and family out there. Stay vigilant. Stay watchful. More coming. Thank y'all for viewing. Till next time. Shalom. Peace.